I'm A's mum. Normally, the opportunity to deliver a eulogy at someone's funeral doesn't come around more than once. But then there was nothing usual about Aodhrua. First time, Michael and Rena gave such poignant and heartfelt eulogies that I couldn't see through my tears what I'd written. This time I'm going first, so I knew I wouldn't have a hope. Thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to see you all again today to support us in saying another goodbye to our son, Aodhrua. Even though 11 years, 3 months and 16 days have passed since Aodhrua left us, the void of losing him is still deeply felt. We will always miss him and grieve his loss. He was unique, and life with Aodhrua was an adventure. He was one of those people you couldn't but notice. He was a whirlwind of ideas, wit and opinions, always ready to share them, whether you were willing to listen or not. He blazed through our lives, colourful in personality and appearance. He made his first forays into comedy while still in school. He loved public speaking and was good at it, winning lots of prizes and trophies. He was articulate and funny. His one-liners were sharp and radical, sometimes a little too radical. He's the only person I know to get expelled from a girls' school he didn't attend while debating. And by 5th year he was requested to change schools, ironically, for talking. He was too much of a distraction to other students. Before he got sick, I often felt like killing him myself. But he wanted to be a comedian. He kicked off his career in stand-up as soon as he was legally allowed into the comedy club. He dragged Junaid along for an open mic evening. Junaid thought he was tagging along for moral support, not realising performance was part of the entrance requirement. Junaid was glad he did it, but said it wasn't for him. Aodhrua loved it. He was born to perform. He was a peacock, both in dress and personality. Some would say a magpie is more apt when it comes to acquiring clothes. I'm sure he's pinched clothes off people here. He delighted in being a poster boy for Cork World Naked Bike Ride and loved body painting jams. He would come home buzzing, insisting I take a picture of the latest artwork. It was around this time, when he was 18, that he noticed a bump on his shoulder blade. We knew it wasn't there before because of the body painting pictures. Blue imps climbing up his back and no bump. We were waiting for an appointment at Crumlin's Children's Hospital for investigations. At 18, he was still a borderline child. But during our wait for Crumlin, his health deteriorated. He bouts of nausea, a limp with crippling bone pain in his leg. He developed light sensitivity. But being he kept a sense of humour. The light sensitivity, he sang Ray Charles songs, head thrown back, wearing dark sunglasses, playing an imaginary piano. Then the day he forgot his words came. In Louise's house he wanted couscous, who was calling it soup. Phone call, and we were back to the GP, with they asking me, you say. Aodhrua, who had infinite words, couldn't find any of them. There was no time for Crumlin, and we were sent straight to A&E. Tests and overnight on a trolley under fluorescent lights. The next morning I was asked to wait for the consultant. He sat me down to look at scans from the night before on a small black and white screen in a cubbyhole of an office. Layer by layer, the screen flickered through images showing cross-sections of my son's head. The thin dark line above his ear grew image by image until a tumour the size of a fist was visible, exerting pressure on his brain, causing the nausea, the light sensitivity, and the language problems. This was the gut-wrenching day, when the bump officially became a lump. He had cancer, and it was spreading. It was a horrible time in so many ways. Aoife was going to Australia the next day after we received the diagnosis, and we made the difficult decision not to tell her, knowing that if we did, she wouldn't go if she knew. And A would not have wanted that. And if she had not gone, we wouldn't have Jono, Oscar, and Finn in our lives now. A continued to deteriorate in hospital. Polyopia, more nausea, hallucinations, unconsciousness, and silent seizures, while the plan of treatment was being made. His oncologist announced the plan for are 3 types of chemo. First, an aggressive type, to hammer the cancer within an inch of his life and hopefully banish it from his body. Second type, if needed, would be to buy him more time. Third type would be for palliative care. And so we got on the roller coaster of treatments, hope, recovery, setbacks, till eventually one day, about a year later, he was declared cancer-free. There was utter euphoria and relief. We thought he was in the tiny percentile who survived sarcoma. But this joy was short-lived and followed within the month by crushing dismay when cancer snuck back. He started on the second type of chemo, buying more time, and when time ran out, palliative care chemo started. He described himself as pain personified, with a smug look of contentment at his choice of words. But despite the pain, his awareness of his impending death seemed liberating to him. He shared his journey online and in his performances. All through his treatments, he lived his life to the absolute fullest. He fell in love twice, once with Louise and later with Rena, both amazing young women. He travelled to Amsterdam, London, Dublin, Galway, Kilkenny to perform with the Cat Laughs, and around Ireland, attending festivals and performed at gigs, both music and comedy. He claimed he'd gone international when he performed across the border in Derry. He joked his strapline, Derry, London Derry, so good they named it 1.5 times, was rejected by the council. He opened for Luke Ming Flanagan, legalised medicinal cannabis campaign. He opened for Howard Marks, Mr. Nice. He met his heroes and performed at various locations. Sometimes I felt like a getaway driver parked outside venues, engine running, ready to whisk him away, exhausted but fulfilling his dream. He knew life was going to be short, so he was living it to the max. All this time he was supported by family, by Paul, his private New Alaska nurse, who kept him alive, who kept him company as a radiotherapy buddy, and he was supported especially by his friends, without whom he said he couldn't fathom making his last difficult journey. I'm still amazed at the fortitude and emotional generosity of his young friends, who stood by him right to the end. He was never alone. Aodhrua was uniquely loved. In return for being with him, he left us a legacy of memories to help us cope without him. His illness, his resilience, and his comic approach to life became a tapestry intertwined with our own. Flashes of joy twinged with sorrow in the everyday still surprise me. It could be triggered by a song, a smell, a place, or an event. A couple of weeks ago, Bette and I were in Waterville. Early in his stand-up career, A performed at the Charlie Chaplin Festival. He stayed in the Charlie Chaplin room, so called because all the Charlie Chaplins at the festival were staying there. He made it. It was a comic. And it wasn't named after Charlie Chaplin's honour. So that was a happy memory for me to share with Yvette. As we passed through Waterville, remembering his description of being in a room full of Charlie Chaplins who stayed in character for the weekend. When I dropped off his ashes to Coburg Street, I remembered how an elderly gentleman stopped him at the pedestrian crossing at the end of Patrick's Hill, mid-crossing, for a chat. Later, A told me he wanted to know if the circus was in town. He thought A was a clown. Aodhrua had that look. He brought immense joy and colour to everyone around him. I remember the post-geek pickups in the getaway car, the bizarre things he used to come up with. Scientists keep smallpox frozen in labs in case the vaccine conspiracy theorists ever get too annoying. I've used that one during COVID. He really did want to go to the chemo ward dressed as the Grim Reaper, as he posted. Instead, as he was on his chemo drip, he chatted to a little old lady who thought it was great to see the young people. He refrained from telling her that it meant he would never live to be old like her. Aodhrua was full of mischief, not malice. He was kind and gentle. He loved animals, loved people. He loved especially cats. And I love his Photoshop version of Botticelli and The Last Supper. The illness eroded his physical abilities and stamina. When he realised he was too sick to join his friends on a night out, he set up his own installation in the garden, made from the clothesline, and danced around it outside in his boxers in October. Saki circled in him, was there that night, and I remember her inside the house laughing at his antics. I like to think that they were still laughing together. He loved music, and when he no longer could dance, he still danced with his fingers. So there are a multitude of songs I can't listen to without feeling the crush of his loss, all part of this haunting tapestry of memories. Then, on Christmas Eve 2013, his second last day of consciousness, before his words left him for good, he tweeted, "He upped my OxyContin, and he ate more sleep till Christmas." His humour and resilience were without limits. Aodhrua was brave. Thank goodness for social media. When I need a little fix of Aodhrua, I visit Aodhrua on Facebook or on YouTube, and it is a comfort to hear him speak and see him in all his jerky quirkiness. Wordsworth encapsulated this agonizing sense of loss and reminiscence when he wrote to a friend about the loss of his own son. He wrote, "I love the boy with the utmost love, of which my soul is capable, and he is taken from me. Yet in the agony of my spirit in surrendering such a treasure, I feel 1,000 times richer than if I had never possessed it." So today we are remembering Aodhrua and giving him a final resting place that we can all visit and reminisce that he was uniquely loved and universally missed. Thank you.
You can edit this out, but my brother Des was going to play. Brother Des was going to play a couple of songs for us, but Des had his own major heart scare last week, so he hasn't been able to come along. So what I did do, so keen to be here, was that we did record a couple of songs that were taken from the album we did about loss, and so I just needed to get the numbers, so just to explain. As Mar said, this is the second eulogy, or in my case probably the 100th, but so I won't go through all the stuff that I talked about to do today 11 years ago, but thank you all for coming today. When we organised this, we were expecting only family members, so it's lovely to see so many people here. But then over the years, ye all have proven to be our chosen and extended family, with the support and love you've provided to Maureen, Aoife, Louis, Aodhrua, Katrina and myself. My heartfelt gratitude goes out to you all. You might be wondering why we picked today to have the ceremony. There were three choices of dates in April. Obviously, with Aodhrua's fondness for non-medicinal cannabis, 420 on the 20th of April would have been Aodhrua's choice. With our only morning services and Mars flying out next Sunday to give the beautiful new boy, Finn Russell Thorne, and his big brother Oscar loads of hugs and cuddles. And there's plenty for Aoife and Jono too. 18th of April was Boo's actual birthday, but that's Good Friday. So we were left with today, the 14th of April, which is the date shown on A's American passport. He'd have approved of the joke, and I suspect he would have been so proud if he could be deported from America now in solidarity. Like I said, his Uncle Des was going to play a couple of songs. We did an album about all types of loss, and as I said, Des had a health scare. At least I think it was a health scare, because his message said, "They took me away with the blue flashing lights going." He did make brief recordings, and you can't be here, I'd like to share them with you. Since we last gathered, all of us and have faced our own share of personal losses. And this song first song, is about when the thought of loved ones catches up with us. And, can we hear it then? That song and the next one kept me company when Aodhrua would come and find me in so many hotel rooms over the last decade. And the loss, as you all know, in your own loss doesn't dim. And I still wait for him to come around the corner with his trademark humour and tales of mischief and ensuing mayhem. And as it says, I still wait for the door to close. And without you, I don't know myself anymore. Sorry about this. The cameraman pointed out you can't see in the sun. Oh, I can't see the sun. Talk about yourself.
Years gone by start to show. I still wait for the door to close. When you go, I don't know myself anymore.
best antidote for death is living. And Aoife and Nui, joined now by Jono, Oscar and Finn, bring me and more so much joy. Whether it's a 2-word text from Nui saying Java later, ? Leading to me learning so much about what is going on in the world long before anybody else can find out, because Nui knows. Or a new picture from Aoife in Sydney, or going to Cork to see the Rebels with Jono and Aoife, or a phone call from Oscar on his calculator. Similarly, A's friends have grown from beautiful scallywags into wonderful adults with their own ever-expanding lives. And I'm so proud to be in regular touch with Ali, Donna and Rena, who have become my dear friends over the years. And to meet up at Christmas with them, Maureen, Kate, and with such good people as James, Rory, Isaac, Dalek and Seamus, to mention just a few. Aodhrua certainly had great taste, even when it was great bad taste. We were delighted to find this columbarium where Aodhrua could be with many other people from across the globe with other difficult names to pronounce and with differing and in many cases no religion. On his final location, I'll share one story. In the last days in the hospital, before going to the hospice, I was chatting with him about the arrangements for after he died. He specified that his friends needed a rest day before the funeral, after they danced their tits off at the New Year's rave. And he made a suggestion for the disposal of his body. He said, sneak my body out of the hospital at night, put me in the passenger seat, and then we'd break into the Peace Park. Put me sitting on a bench with a load of empty beer cans scattered at my feet. The following morning, the cops will come in and they'll try and move me on, and they'll get such a fucking shock. It'll be great. We agreed, as ever, it was a brilliant idea, but it wasn't going to happen. Right, because there was a little bit of cruelty in it, so we settled on the cremation. I really hope you like your new home, Aodhrua. And as this inscription will read, you were unique, you were uniquely loved, and you were universally missed. I love you, my beautiful boy. Thank you. Down to the viaduct for those living in Cork. Maureen would normally give you directions that would bring you out to where she lived out by Farmer's Cross, and then directions from there. So to get to Farmer's Cross, you cut across the Bar Hill up to the airport, then head back into town, out the thing, and then down here just about 200 yards to the down that way. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll see you down below.
I managed. It was lovely. Just about lovely to hear so much about him. This is mine.
You're next.
Yeah.